Alright, what is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Small Town Horror with Johnny and Randy. And I'm Johnny.
I'm Randy.
And this is my brother, the one and only, Senor Reyes.
No.
See.
Thank you.
To all of our YouTube subscribers, if you are new to the podcast, my brother has been on here several times over the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Has it been that long?
Yeah, it has. It has been that long. But to give kind of a quick summary, real quick, of the history with you and Small Town Horror Podcast is Chris is my brother, and we grew up watching horror movies and loving horror movies. And he's got his certain kind that he likes. I got my certain kind that I like. And big shocker, this is the first year this man's ever watched John Carpenter's The Thing.
And I've watched it twice in the last, 3 months.
It is a great movie, is it not?
I like it a lot.
Up until the end.
Anyway.
And, by the way, I got a bone to pick with you.
What?
I said on the last podcast, I'm going to take a little time. Thanksgiving, terrible movie.
I've seen it once.
Okay.
I liked what I remember of it.
Yeah, I'm going to punch you in the face.
But Chris has joined us on such films as The Shining.
Mm-hmm.
You also did Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Yes.
Our Halloween discussion talk.
Yes. And what else have you joined us on?
Horror Talk?
Yeah,
Yep.
the Horror Talk episodes. But
I was about due for another one of those.
and we did all the Evil Deads and Ash vs. Evil
Yeah.
Dead stuff,
Yep.
so right on. But
God, we forget about Ash.
right.
Well.
And that's another film, a series that I had to introduce these two knuckleheads to. But
Sorry, I was
The
ready.
only thing I saw
Good
was
movies.
Army of Darkness.
that's the same
That's the
thing.
exact same thing.
Yeah. But anyway, with that being said, it's officially December, and we are doing 4 films this month. We're doing the Terrifier trilogy and Friday the 13th, Part 3 and 3D. So, because there is a Friday the 13th in December. But,
Yeah, we missed one a couple months ago.
Yeah.
We couldn't miss another one.
but last week's podcast, I said that at the end of the podcast that this film genre, the Terrifier films, are your favorite. I said how Halloween and Michael Myers I'm obsessed with. Like, I really like it, the franchise, and I like buying stuff of Michael Myers. You're that way with Art the Clown, right?
Yeah, I've always been a wrestling collector. But, yeah, I don't know. I guess we can get into it a little later on. But, yeah, Art has just come along and pulled me into this franchise, man. I love Art the Clown.
So is it the movies that you like, or is it the character itself that you like that kind of makes the movies for you?
It started out art. As the movies go along, the whole package kind of pulls you in.
Well, it's crazy because I was reading earlier and it said the director created Art the Clown because he didn't feel there was a good representation of a horror killer clown in the 2010s.
There wasn't.
And that was his whole shtick for creating Art the Clown, which I thought was kind of cool, and he wanted it to be as far away from Pennywise as possible, because when you think of killer clowns, I automatically go to Pennywise.
Yep.
Right.
And mine was always Tim Curry, and then most recently Bill Skarsgård came in with his version of Pennywise.
Which is what I prefer.
Well, see, and that's what, and it really just depends. It's kind of like your Joker. How do you like your Joker?
Yeah.
You got 2 different kinds of Pennywises, and then you've got Art the Clown. And I'm not going to lie to you. I've always loved Tim Curry's Pennywise. Art the Clown may be my new updated favorite as far as the look and the way he goes about it. Because I really like the look of Art.
And see, that's one thing is, I'm like you. I do like the 2017 It film. I thought it was made wonderful. The graphics were good. And I think Bill Skarsgård did a great Pennywise.
Mm-hmm.
But if in a perfect world, I would have liked to have Tim Curry, his Pennywise in the 2017 one, because yes, Bill Skarsgård did a good job and he was creepy. But it's just something about Tim Curry's plain old clown that is more creepier to me. And like, I know we're not talking about Terrifier yet, but we're talking about clowns because we're kind of representing, like, you know, we're acknowledging the past clowns.
Yeah.
And my thing is like the creepiest shot to me ever in the It movies is something so simple, and all it is where John Ritter's character is in the backseat of the cab and he's going to Derry, and he looks and all of a sudden he sees Pennywise, which is Tim Curry, and he's sitting there waving like this, and he's got a balloon. And then when they pass him, you just see Tim Curry just watching him, and all of a sudden there's that balloon in his face. That always freaked me out. It's something so simple.
You know what I think made Tim Curry's Pennywise so creepy?
What's that?
When we were kids? It's because it looks so much like Bozo.
Yeah.
And it was somebody that we grew up watching, just the happy clown, and then you get a killer version of it, and it was like, all right, now that's freaky.
Yeah.
He wasn't throwing balls in the bucket.
Nah, he was throwing heads at people.
But
Now that you mentioned that scene too with him passing, I guess that was probably like a little homage in All Hallows Eve.
mm-hmm.
Art, when they're going down the road and they pass Art in that.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and that is something that, if you are unaware, this is not the original Art the Clown, David Howard Thornton. There's actually a film before all these called All Hallows Eve, and it's like, what would you say, like, is it 3 stories in one movie?
Yeah, three or four shorts.
It's like an anthology.
It's almost like a creep show, just with a kind of a lower budget, and they do have Art the Clown in it, but it's the original actor. And I want to say, if I read correctly, that after he did that movie, he retired from acting.
Mike Gianelli.
Yeah, so, but, and this is the first time I just watched it, probably 3 weeks ago, was All Hallows Eve, and it wasn't bad. I mean, you can tell it's a short film and a low budget film, but, I mean, it wasn't bad at all.
The alien was kind of,
Yeah, but you don't like anything with aliens.
yeah, it's a hard sell, except for Signs. That was cool.
Signs was a good movie.
Indiana Jones, Kingdom of Crystal Skull. You need to watch it again. It actually wasn't that bad. You gonna quit hating on that. But
anyway.
yeah. But anyway, we just want to say once again, we thank you guys and gals for checking us out on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and now we are here on YouTube, and we thank each and every one
of you
who are subscribing and enjoying the product that we're putting out. Please leave your comments in the comment section and let us know what you think about Terrifier, the first one. What do you think about Art the Clown? And Randy.
Yeah. Can I help you?
You got that summary?
Man, I got your summary. What you talking about, Willis? Named one of the scariest clowns on screen by BloodyDisgusting.com, Art the Clown returns and has set his sights on 3 young women, along with anyone else that gets in his way. Terrifier is based on a character from the successful horror anthology franchise All Hallows Eve.
Short and sweet.
Yeah.
Well, that one was longer than the one I was going to read a while ago. But yeah, so.
Now you got the cast, buddy.
So we got some. We've got the David Howard Thornton plays Art the Clown, who needs to be cast as Joker, but that's a story for a different time. Anyway, Gina Cannell is Tara Hayes. Samantha Scafidi plays Victoria Hayes. Catherine Coracocken plays Dawn. This has got Mike Gianelli in it for some reason. Was he an extra or something?
I don't know.
And it may be one of them stupid things where they put one and 2 and 3 together.
It might be. Mike Levy.
That was the reporter or TV host there at the beginning.
Katie McGuire. Monica Brown. She plays the reporter at the beginning. Okay. Michael Levy plays the exterminator. Puya Mosini plays the cat lady.
Good lord.
I need my bald guy. Matt McAllister plays Mike.
Alright, so Terrifier come out in 2016, and it is categorized as horror slasher, and it is 1 hour and 32 minutes long. IMDb scored it a 5.5 out of a 10. And I don't have the ranking for Rotten Tomatoes.
That's probably stupid anyway.
Alright, so the film was written and directed by Damien Leone, and he also did All Hallows Eve, correct?
Yes.
Was that his first film he did?
I think so. Like he did the art ones, but the other ones that were thrown in, from what my understanding is, he didn't do those, but he basically took their stuff and put it all into one movie. So he's
Got you.
considered the director of those.
The budget for the film was between $35,000 and $55,000, and it made $421,798.
Nice return.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, they did. They did a pretty good job for that kind of budget.
You gonna notice that trend as we go too.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a lot of practical effects. And
Which is always better than CGI.
I'm gonna smack you.
But all right, so let's go ahead and get into the film itself. Right off the bat, Randy, without giving your rating, was it what you expected, or did it live up to the hype that people was talking about Art the Clown and how Terrifier is?
Well, I'll say this, from the clips I've seen from Art,
Yeah.
I don't think any of them were from this one.
Probably not.
All the clips that I've seen are clearly from either the second or the third one.
Okay.
And it's probably more from the second one.
Yeah.
With the third one just having come out. And being as you pretty much told me that there's really no rhyme or reason to the movie itself, I didn't go in with any expectations of a backstory, a story developed. I had no idea that he was a character from another movie.
Right.
Like, I have heard of All Hallows Eve.
Yeah.
But, or what is it called?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. I'd heard of it before, and I'd seen his picture on it, but I didn't realize that was like an anthology or like a creep show type thing.
Yeah.
And from the clips that I've seen, like the brutality part of it, that pretty much was like, okay, that nothing really shocked me, except for when they went straight tomahawk on the chick.
Yeah.
That was
Well, in each film, I've noticed there's at least one shocking kill, and that was this one.
oh yeah,
So, and then two you've already seen. And
yeah, you ruined that one.
Showed him,
don't even say I ruined it,
showed him the big kill.
because you had no intention of watching the
No,
Terrifier
I
films.
did not.
But
I should have known better because I figured we'd end up doing them. But yeah, I'll say I like the fact. Just talking about Art,
yeah,
just the character Art. I like the fact that he's not your typical slasher killer as far as he makes no noise.
yeah,
As far as vocal,
Mhm.
if he's getting stabbed in the eye, if he's getting stabbed in the foot, he makes no noise. And I was reading that David Thornton actually had experience with mime work,
yeah.
and he brought that to this character, and you can really tell because he is a very physically what's the word I'm looking for? Expression actor.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And a physically expression.
He's a physical actor.
Yeah,
like
he really
the way
is. He don't need words, especially with this character.
Well, who did he say influenced? Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean, and he said he took some from Charlie Chaplin too.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. And both of them, Charlie Chaplin and Rowan Atkins, are both phenomenal actors.
Silent
Actors. So,
And he even made the comment. I don't remember who it was to, but he said that Art is like a psychotic Mr. Bean, like an evil Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
And you can see it in the way he moves around and the way he does his expressions and stuff.
And he gets more and more as the other two movies go along too. You'll pick up on things like.
Yeah, that you can really tell.
Well, and the thing that I like about Art is that he could literally probably kill any of them girls at any time, but he messes with them. Like when he knew that the girl was hiding in that little closet area, and he come up there he was naked, and he had that woman's scalp and the breast on, and he knew where she was at. He was pointing at her the whole time and just laughing. But that, to me, that's one of the creepiest scenes of this entire film, is when he's laying there, to know that he scalped this girl, put the scalp on, and then took her, her chest part, put it on. But it wasn't like he just got up and put his clown outfit back on. He acted feminine. And that, and you can't tell me if you didn't see that coming. That would be creepy to see it chasing you,
To me, that was one of the more creepiest things was his walk during that whole scene. I mean, I knew he was a smaller person. I didn't realize he was that scrawny.
And then his feet looked that way with his
Yeah.
shoes.
But the way he did the walk, it was on. It really reminded me of like the Silent Hill walk with the nurses. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The nurse Silent Hill walk. That's what it the jerky movements. But he wasn't like overly expressive with the jerks. He was trying to be feminine with it.
Right.
And that was, to me, that was one of the creepier scenes of the whole movie. Like, that got to me, that had my skin crawling watching that part more than it did any of the rest of it.
Well, I discovered Terrifier just randomly one night. I had seen the little cover art of it with Art's face.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like years. It probably was because this came out in 2016. I didn't watch it until probably a few weeks before Terrifier 2 came out.
Yeah.
And I was just bored one night. Just sitting in the living room like 1 o'clock in the morning. I was like, I'm going to watch it, see what this is about. Because I kept hearing about like the scene, the hacksaw scene. I was like, it can't be that bad. So I kicked back and watched it and was just like, oh, okay, this is pretty gnarly. And then, of course, that scene is the one that sticks out that everybody talks about. And I liked how, like, obviously they cut away, but everything looked just so, like, in your face and with the quick cuts, but it still looked real. And it was just awesome. I was like, okay, now I'm ready for 2.
It brought back the practical effects, which, like me and Randy's talked about, if it's good CGI, I'm down for it.
Yeah.
But I do like the practical effects, even the cheesy ones back in the 80s and stuff. But in this film, they used practical effects. I guess they didn't have the budget for CGI, and it looked phenomenal. But they did it where the camera showed just enough where you could see it. Because sometimes that's in my opinion, is where you can ruin a practical effect because the camera will stay on the prop for so long, and you can go,
just lingers.
yeah, you're like, well, you can tell that's not.
Well, like we said before, I'm always CGI over practical.
Right.
I always have been, just because it's more updated. But it's different when you have good practical effects that they're not afraid to get the camera up and close and personal to.
Right.
That's the way this one was. Mm-hmm. There were a lot of shots that were up in your face with the practical effects, and they were done well. Yeah. That's the difference between good practical effects and your reanimated practical effects.
And then as the movies go, they just get a bigger budget with each movie, and the effects get better and better.
And a lot of blood can cover a lot of cheesiness.
Yeah, that's true.
But
are you sure Sam Raimi didn't have anything to do with this movie?
Hey, man.
I mean, there was a lot of blood.
My thing is too is I'm glad that you see the killer. All the films that we grew up watching, and I'll even throw Halloween in there. You see Michael, but he's in the shadows.
Yeah.
This one, he's just boom. I mean, he's there, and I like the little cat and mouse games he plays. And my favorite scene of the entire movie is when he's in the diner. Or not the diner, I'm sorry, when he's in the pizzeria.
Yep.
Because he looks so mad when he's just staring at that girl. And then all of a sudden, he's just smiling. Yeah. And then when the girl comes over there and starts messing with him, I can't even think of their name. What's her name? Dawn?
Dawn.
Yeah. When she comes over, he's just so annoyed with her, but...
He don't even pay her any mind until she pops his hat in his face. Then he just looks at her like, you're dead.
Right.
You just sealed your fate.
But that's what I'm saying is David Howard Thornton, he's such a good actor that he can work with his eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely, man. And I don't know, like I said, this isn't my favorite franchise, but I feel like this film does have some issues, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. But
yeah, I'm kind of running out of things to say without having to get into my scale.
Oh, we'll get in there, but that's what I'm saying. I do feel like this is one of those movies that the fans appreciate, and I appreciate the director because, if I'm not mistaken, what I heard was when he was fixing to make the third one, a big company approached him.
Several.
And wanted to fund the movie and all this stuff, and he said absolutely not, because then y'all can tell me what I can and can't do with my film.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that because I do feel like the films get better and better. I've already said it, part 3 is my absolute favorite. I did a review on it on my YouTube channel. And I enjoy it, but like I said, or like Chris said, you can tell that the the money gets a little bit more and the practical effects get a little bit better. So, and the reason I really didn't know if me and you would ever review it is because I'm a backstory guy.
Mm-hmm.
You like a good story. The movie can be 4 hours long, but as long as the story is good, you're good.
Yeah, and it's one of the reasons that we've talked about. The reason I think you don't really care for like the Lord of the Rings movies is because you're not a big story person like I am, and you can get into the story. It's a story for another time. Shut up. Just smacking your lips. But this isn't a movie that you can sit down and watch because you enjoy the movie itself. As far as to me, like I said, I'm running out of stuff to say without getting into the thing.
Well, Chris, do you got stuff you want to share before we get into the scale?
The what?
I ain't saying yet.
Okay.
Oh, well, you kind of touched on it earlier, but with Damien Leone saying that there wasn't really like a killer clown, since the 90s or whatever it was. Like, if you think about it, there's really not been like a horror icon really come along since Ghostface. And even with Ghostface, that's different people. And you could kind of say Jigsaw.
I would say Jigsaw.
But, I mean, like, in the last
You can't
20
really...
years, I mean, what's come along that, like, sticks out?
Well, they have to rehash.
Yeah.
Halloween 2018, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022.
But I'm talking about, like, a new...
That's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
That's why I said they have to keep rehashing
The
it.
only thing that pops into my head, and it's not really a particular horror icon, there's Faces, but The Purge pops into my head. But it's not really... There's not, like, one singular horror icon devoted to that movie. You know what I mean?
I will say, and I know y'all's going to roll your eyes, I think in the last 20 years, the only real horror icons that we have gotten, whether you like the movie or you don't, is Baby, Otis, and Captain Spaulding.
Oh, yeah.
Because
when did Fireflies?
When did Devil's Rejects come out?
2006.
So, yeah.
And then, I mean, House Last Corpse come out in 2003.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, and I'm not saying, like, I'm not putting them on Michael Myers level or nothing, but I'm saying those films blew up to where you show Captain, even if you've never seen the movies, you're like, Spaulding.
See, it's crazy because I never would have thought it, but I was telling my dad that we did the review on the movie. He's like, man, that's a good movie. Dad loves the movie.
Which one?
The Devil's Rejects.
Does he really?
Yeah, it really does.
What's he say? Scare?
Yeah, pretty much. It's that the Rolling Stones review.
Well, like, even with those, like that group there, it's more of a cult movie, where this one has started out as like a cult movie.
Right.
And it's went full mainstream. I mean, you can go in Spirit Halloween and get Terrifier stuff now.
Right.
And it was a long time coming. Because eventually somebody was going to come out with their own idea for a new horror icon. Okay, I can name another one. The Nun. I think The Nun has become a face horror icon. Not necessarily her because of The Conjuring, but that whole series. If you show somebody the picture, they'll be like, "Yeah, that's The Nun."
Well, I wasn't going to mention this one, but I'm going to, since you whipped that one out of nowhere. Because I don't know how popular it is. I know Devil's Rejects is because who made the film, Rob Zombie. But the last true horror icon that we have gotten in the last decade, Victor Crowley.
See, and I like those movies too, but that's more of a cult thing. Like, that one hadn't really went like mainstream.
I'll agree with that, because that's not something that you're going to see coming soon to theaters, October, Victor Crowley.
Right. But I'm saying, like,
underground horror icon, yes.
Now they're making
NECA
NECA figures of them now.
Yeah.
Now Kane Hodder's starting to do photo ops as Victor, so it's getting out there.
Yeah,
it's climbing the ladder, so to speak.
But you gotta. Have we reviewed all those, right? Yes.
4 was terrible.
But you gotta have that '80s mentality, because that's what he based it on. Two totally different filmmakers.
Oh, absolutely.
Adam Green wanted to bring back to the old '80s slashers, make it kind of comical and over dramatic, where Damien is like, this is a bloodbath.
Yeah. And see, I had never heard of Victor Crowley or any of the Hatchets until you started talking about him and introduced him. To me, that's going to be one of those your true blue diehard horror fans are gonna know who Victor Crowley is.
Right.
If you get somebody that says, "Yeah, I like watching horror movies," and they only watch what comes to the theaters, they're not gonna have any idea who it is.
Exactly.
So it's gonna be one of those, like you said, it's a horror icon,
Yeah.
but an underground horror icon.
Right.
And the way I look at it anyway, because it's not going to be something that's going to be in the theaters every time.
It's going to be one of those just like a band. Like when something really blows up, they're going to be like, dude, did you know back in 2006?
Exactly. All that underground music. They've been putting out music for years. You're just not hearing about them?
But you got anything else you want to share before we get into it?
I don't think so.
All right, well, with that being said, I believe it's time for the pulling scale.
The pulling scale?
The pulling scale.
The pulling scale.
Pulling.
Scale. All right. So, who wants to go first on this one?
All right, let me go first.
Since this is the first time you've ever
This is the first time I've ever seen it.
All right.
Before ever watching this movie, and before ever seeing any clips from any of the movies, the first time I ever seen Art the Clown, I liked the entire getup of Art the Clown. Then I seen clips of it, and then I liked it even more because I liked the way he presents the character. I'm gonna give it's one review, but you're not gonna like my grade for this one unless you let me grade the character alone. All right. So
give your both your grades.
Okay. So for the movie itself, this is not a movie that I would sit down and watch again if I was just gonna watch a movie.
Okay.
Because the whole premise behind this movie is just gore, gore, gore. There's nothing else to this movie.
ECW, Rhino.
There's nothing else to this movie other than killing. There's no story to it whatsoever, like you said, and I went into this knowing that.
Right.
And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but for me, if I'm gonna sit down and watch a movie, there's got to be something to keep me interested, and not just slash blood, guts, slash. It's got to be more to it.
Yeah.
Art the character, phenomenal. David Howard Thornton, phenomenal. I love that character.
Cool.
Absolutely love that character. In the last, I don't know of another horror iconic type character that I've liked this much. Unless you go back to Tim Curry's Pennywise. And the reason I say that is because somebody that can keep me captivated in his character alone in a movie and not say two words, that's a daggum good actor.
Yeah.
That's something special.
It's exactly special. And then you hear him talk, and then you hear him do Joker, and you're like, all right, this dude can do anything.
Try meeting him.
I can imagine.
Well, me and him met him, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
One of the really nice, sweet dude, and you can tell he's really appreciative of his fans.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking at him like, this is the dude?
Right, exactly.
We
Because
walked by and he takes the picture with the little Art hat.
yeah.
And Heather said, "That don't look like Art." And then I guess he made a face, and Heather goes, "Oh, there it is."
Well, it's crazy because I've seen him I've seen him go through the whole makeup process, and
Yeah.
the prosthetics that he puts on and everything, and it really does transform his face.
Yeah.
Like, you can look at a picture of him and then look at a picture of Art, and you're like, I don't see how that happens. But then you go watch the whole process, and it's really cool to see how they transform him and able to turn him into something completely different. So, for the movie, this particular movie, I would give a thumbs down because I wouldn't watch it.
Okay.
It's just not something that I would watch again. For Art the character, I'm giving it a thumbs up, 100%.
Okay.
And Art the character is the reason why I would sit there and watch any other movie that he has coming out.
Okay.
That's why I'm excited to watch 2 now. Because now that to me, this is them setting the character up. Mm-hmm. Even though it's already been set up in All Hallows Eve. I take that back. I wouldn't give the movie a thumbs down. I'd give the movie a thumbs in the middle.
Okay.
It'd be one of those ones like, if he's like, hey, have you ever seen the Terrifier movies? Watch the first one so you get introduced to how violent he can be.
Yeah.
And then watch the second and third one.
Right.
So I would give it a thumbs in the middle. Maybe watch it one time.
Okay.
And it's going to be one of those weird, if you're a collector and you like the second and third one, go ahead and add it to your collection type thing.
Right.
I wouldn't. This would be one of those ones like, I could see myself buying 2 and not buying 1 type thing, you know, and maybe buying 3 and not buying. Like I would buy the whole trilogy just to get the second and third one and never watch the first one again.
I got you.
You just watch the kills on like YouTube or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's kind of like me. I got the Dark Knight trilogy, but I only watched Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises.
Dude, I can't tell you last time I watched Batman Begins.
And I like Batman Begins, but it's so boring and it takes so long to get
it
going.
does.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
But the character Art the Clown, to me, is the only reason to watch this movie and to watch how he plays the character. Because I'm more excited to see how he acts in the second and the third one than I am to see what actually happens in the second and third one.
Right.
So thumbs in the middle for the movie, thumbs up for Art the Clown. I'm giving Art the Clown. I'm giving Art the Clown an A.
Okay.
I'm giving the movie like a C minus.
Okay.
But I will give Art the Clown an A. And just because I didn't like this movie, you know how I am with trilogies and with movies with multiple entries in the movies.
Yeah.
If the first one's not good, I usually don't want to watch the rest of them. Because I'm like, screw it, I'm not going to watch it. I didn't like the first one.
Yeah.
This is the exception. Because, no, I didn't care for the movie itself, but I love that character.
Right.
So, I want to see whatever this character, I want to see this character in whatever movie he's in. If Mr. Rogers has an episode and he's in it, I'm watching Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know how you're going to feel. I don't know how you feel about it with this particular movie. But it's just this movie, I will say, the graphics were good. As far as with it being such a low-budget movie, the practical effects were great. I didn't see anything that I was like, oh, that's kind of bad, you know. Even Thanksgiving, where we were talking about when the pole went through the back windshield and went through the dude's face, that was probably the best graphic of that whole movie, and all of these graphics were on that same practical effects standard. Yeah. So that's not a knock on it whatsoever. It's just the plot of the movie.
There is no plot.
Exactly. and that's the problem for me.
Yeah.
And that's just my problem. This is one of those movies, if you just want to see people die, watch this movie.
Right.
If you want to watch a movie and be enthralled in the movie itself and not just in one particular character, this isn't the movie for you. So yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how you feel about that, Chris.
We'll let you go last.
I don't want to hurt your feelings or nothing.
No, I agree with you on a lot of stuff. And Chris, I think you know how I feel about this film. Me and him's talked before, but yeah, Art the Clown is becoming quickly a huge horror icon. Like he said, now when you can go buy pillows for kids with Art the Clown, I mean, come on, you know. You've made that status. But when I first watched Terrifier, I was bored. Bored with no plot. The acting's okay. I'll say, excuse Art, he's not in there. I would say the best acting was the main girl who ended up the sister, not the one that survived, Victoria, but the other one, Tara. Dawn was the cheesy blonde, and she had moments. Don't get me wrong, like she could play scared, really good stuff, but you know it was the cheesier acting. But now Tara, I thought she did good.
Honestly, the weird part about it is, to me, the best actor in the movie was the most realistic was the daggone pizza shop owner. Because he seemed more realistic.
He did good. But as far as the film itself, I think the graphics are really good. I do like the music. It's got its own unique sound.
It did have a creepy circus vibe through the entire movie.
It had,
with the music anyway. To
me, it had one of those.
By Paul Wiley, by the way.
It had one of those grindhouse music. To me, and there was a scene where when he's looking forward through the car and he's looking and you can hear the down, and then all of a sudden it just stops and all he does is just does that little smile and then it picks back up. I like that. So the music sticks out to me. I really like the music. The graphics, practical effects, that's the way to go. And the character, Art the Clown. Now, I don't know if you're thinking the same thing I thought the first time, but I'm like, who is this woman with the baby? What's the deal with the little doll? And then I remember spoiler alert if you haven't seen the film, but if you haven't, that's your fault for watching this.
Been out
And listen,
8 years.
when he shoots himself at the end, and he does die, and then all of a sudden he comes back, I'm like,
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to explain that to me.
I get you.
you're like, you're honest. When I first seen it, I was like, okay, so, but then when 2 came out, I was not excited for 2 because it's a 2 hour and 24-minute movie,
Mm-hmm. It's long.
and I was like, oh,
2 hours and 20 minutes of that?
yeah, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. And he watched it, and he was like, you got to watch it, Johnny. You've already sit through the first one. That's what he always tells me. You already sit through the first one. And I enjoy the second one. We'll get on that later. But now they start introducing characters and explaining stuff, and the acting's better. So I just feel like this one right here was a trial run. I feel like it was a trial season. How
people accept the
The
character.
Walking Dead, the first season was only 6 episodes. Breaking Bad was only 6 episodes. Then when people really showed a love for it, all right, now we're giving you the full season. That's how I feel about this film. When I think of Terrifier, I never go back and watch this film unless, and I know it's creepy, unless I just literally want to be like, I want to see that kill scene real quick or something like that.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm going to give the film, and it's going to sound weird, I'm giving the film a thumbs up for somebody finally doing something different in Hollywood, giving us something unique. Yes, like I said, there was no story, but they gave us Art the Clown, and they gave us something fresh. I'll say it that way. So it's getting a thumbs up. Do I recommend you to watch it? Most definitely. I mean, you've got to watch it to continue with the franchise. I've got it in my collection. I own it because I'm a horror fan. But now here's where it's going to kind of be like, really? But I'm giving the film, a C+. Because I can watch it over. Like tonight, I enjoyed watching it again tonight. But, and thank goodness I just said that, my biggest issue with this film, it drags. When Art is chasing the sister, when she comes in, what's her name? Help me out.
Tara?
No, not Tara, the final one.
Victoria.
It takes so long for him to get to her. And just when you think the film's about to end, oh, well, now she accepts and it goes again. It was just the fact that, how big is this freaking apartment building? You know what I'm saying? Really.
Well, the idiot ran outside and then ran back inside.
It was a gated area.
I don't care.
But I'm just saying,
She could have climbed the fence.
it's like they wanted to say, hey, this has to be an hour and 32 minutes long, so let's make him keep getting away from him and keep him away from him. That's where I was kind of like tonight, I was like, man, I don't remember this part being, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's my thing. Thumbs up, and I'm going to give it a C+.
Okay.
No spoilers for anything for 2 or 3.
Okay. Not yet, huh?
You
Obviously,
just spoiled it.
like I said, I've done said a little bit about finding it in the middle of the night, and I'll just go ahead and give my rating. I'm gonna give it a B- and a thumbs up, because like I was engaged with it enough to be like, I am in. Let's go. You know, I
Would
was
you
ready
add it
for
to
two-
would you recommend people add it to the collection and stuff?
Yeah, definitely add it. Matter of fact, me and you got that umbrella collection already ordered.
You.
Yeah, I love Art the Clown, and I think you kind of touched on it too. I think the reason I just like this character so much is because it's something new.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I'm so sick of seeing remakes and reboots and all this crap, and like you said, like the early 2000s had all the reboots and stuff, and they weren't all bad, but it's just like even nowadays, like nothing like new and fresh comes out.
Right.
It's just a rehash of everything. So Art come along and it was just like, oh, okay, and change the game for the horror franchise going forward.
Yeah.
I hope. But yeah, I love Art, and like you said, he what was it, the Evil Mr. Bean?
Mm-hmm.
I seen that like about a month before we went and watched 3 in theaters, and I was just like, I can see it now. With some of his expressions and stuff, I'm just waiting for him to be like, when he finally says something, it'll just be, as far as he goes in this movie, to come back to what you were asking, when he comes back at the end, he was human in this one. Something happens. Can't get into it yet. Something brings him back.
I wish you wouldn't have even said that now.
And now he's supernatural. Yeah.
So he was supernatural, like in the morgue. That's when he became supernatural.
That's when he became supernatural.
When the lights started flickering,
and you get a reason. Into.
Yeah.
What's the reason?
I can't tell you yet. But yeah, he's human because after watching and listening to interviews and stuff, Damien Leone said he straight up said, "Yeah, I didn't really have a plot or anything," and he introduces Sienna in part 2, which is awesome, but we won't go into that yet. But yeah, because I just assumed from the start he was supernatural because most things are anymore.
Well, my thought was, well, it was a cap gun, and he had a little explosive thing on the back of his head to make it look like he killed himself.
Now you're trying to do some CSI stuff.
Well, no, I was thinking he's a clown. He's coming up with tricks, you know.
boom,
Bang,
boom,
bang.
But yeah, they started explaining some stuff in the next one.
No, I don't want to watch the second one.
Yeah, I mean, we can go right in there and watch it. But no, I dig it, and yeah, I'm looking forward to watching these other two again. As far as like you guys were talking about with the story, yeah, like I noticed it dragging a little bit tonight, but like the first time I watched it, it didn't drag to me. But now that I've seen it a few times, it's like, okay, yeah, come on, let's get to it. But yeah, and to me personally, like he said, the second one was like 2 hours and 20 minutes. To me, the first time there was one part that drags a little bit, but now that I got some context to it, the last time I watched it, it didn't drag at all. So I'm ready for you to watch it too, because there's other stuff I want to say and I can't get into it yet.
I really think, Randy, after you watch 2 and 3, and when part 4 comes out in 2026, you'll probably be like, "We going to movies and watching it?"
See,
I never thought I'd see a Terrifier film in theaters. Did you?
No.
And then when I heard about the third one coming out, I was like,
well, see, and to me, that's the difference between what you brought up a while ago. That's the difference between Hatchet and Victor Crowley and Art the Clown. They made it to where Art the Clown has to be in theaters now. Absolutely has to.
Well, see, Victor Crowley, now the Hatchets do come out in theaters, but they don't do nationwide.
Exactly. But
So
Art the Clown is nationwide now.
Right.
Yeah.
But I could see this being, and I'm not going to put it necessarily like on Halloween level.
Right.
But I could see this being one of these movies where like, all right, we put out 4 of these movies, so now we need to do some side stories with Art, or we need to do some different alternate universes with Art, or we need to do something like that.
I just don't want them.
I could see them doing something like that.
I just don't want them doing money grab
Yeah.
and just making something to be making something.
Yeah.
Well, the director already said too, like he's obviously already announced 4. He said he's wanting to wrap up the story in 4, possibly 5. So he don't want it to, we don't need Art in space. We don't need,
That's what I'm
part
afraid
8,
of where
9,
it
10
ends up
and
going.
all that.
But that's what's good
Art
though.
goes to hell.
At least he's taken in consideration, like almost like a TV series. I don't want to rush anything.
Yeah.
So if they can get it done in 4, hey, go out with a bang. But if you need to stretch it out, I'm there.
Now you say that, I could see this being where they're like, all right, we're going to come up with an Art the Clown
Prequel
Netflix
or
series and doing a whole series based around Art the Clown.
I can, but then again, it's one of those. Does
It would have
David
to be-
Howard Thornton want to be? He's 40 something now already. Does he want to be just tied down to doing Art the Clown either?
I mean,
If it brings in the cash, I'm sure. But
and
look at Bruce Campbell.
right. That's one of the things that actors have to take into consideration is like, do I take on this role permanently and make this character my complete acting identity?
Right.
I mean, look at all the actors. I mean,
Robert Englund.
Robert Englund is Freddy.
forever.
Always.
Bruce Campbell's gonna be Ash Williams.
Always.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, you have to, as an actor, I'm sure you have to take that into consideration. It was like, if I ever get cast for another role, it's going to be similar, at least similar to Art the Clown. That's why I think they're going to have a hard time doing David Howard Thornton as the Joker.
Now that you've watched it, when we reviewed last year, the Mean One, do you see aspects of David Howard
I
Thornton
was fixing to
as
say
the
that.
Grinch?
Dude, I have put that movie so far away from my mind. I can't even remember how it was. I'd have to go back and watch his mannerisms.
And it wasn't a terrible movie. Like me, you didn't just dog it. Go back and listen. We didn't dog the film. It was just so cheesy, but the Mean One was cool.
Yeah.
See, and I still haven't watched that, but now that like I've seen Art and I've met David Howard Thornton, like now I want to go watch it.
Yeah. But,
See, I had never heard of him before Art the Clown.
right.
Oh.
Even when we watched the Mean
Mean
One,
One.
I don't remember you saying his name in the cast.
And
But it wasn't one of those prevalent ones, and it wasn't like a high budget movie or anything
Right.
like that.
He's in another one coming out next year. You remember old Steamboat Willie, the Mickey Mouse, the old black and white?
Oh yeah.
They've got Screamboat coming out,
Oh Lord.
and he's playing him.
But I got a feeling he's going to be stuck with the horror genre.
He said something. I think he originally started in comedy
Mhm.
and wants to get back there at some point. And of course, if he ever gets cast as Joker, it's game over.
Based off of his acting in this one and the way he does like the mime work, I would love to see them bring out a modern silent film with him, like a horror, a modern day horror silent film with just him,
Yeah.
black and white and everything. That would be awesome.
Well, y'all guys got anything else want to share? Or?
I can't wait for you to watch two.
Not unless Chris wants to come up with some information off that second one before we do the second one. Let me know what's going on in it.
I drive 10 hours a day, so I've constantly got something going. I'm just like, oh, then I go back and rewatch it. I'm like, God, that's what they were talking about. Okay.
All right, well, that is our review on Terrifier. And our next two will be Terrifier 2 and Terrifier 3. And then our special Friday the 13th episode will be coming out as well. But we hope you guys and gals enjoyed this episode. And as always, catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Download us on iTunes. And check out our social media. Our Instagram is Small Town Horror Johnny_Randy. Our Facebook is Small Town Horror Johnny and Randy. And our TikTok
Tiggity tuggy.
is at Small Town Horror Podcast. And like I announced last week, that we will be doing another Horror Box giveaway. I will be posting the rules for that giveaway. But as always, please like and share. Whether you're listening to us on audio or you're watching our YouTube, man, hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends and family.
Down at the bottom.
Yeah. And put your comments and let us know about what you think about Art the Clown, what you think about Terrifier. Do you agree with us? Do you not agree with us? Love to hear you guys and gals, thoughts and opinions on these films.
I personally think it would be pretty cool if you guys, send us some fan art of you dressed up as Art the Clown.
That'd be cool, too.
So, we'd
Yeah.
like to see it in comments somewhere.
Yeah, really.
Post a picture.
On any of our social media, just tag us.
Just saying.
But as always, remember to stay scared.
Stay spooky.